Hey there, comrades! Hazbin Hotel is back on our screens just in time for Halloween 2025. Yep, I also thought it couldn't possibly get any worse, but then Season 2 looked at that statement, smirked and decided to give us a repeat tour of hell, this time with VIP passes to the disappointment section. This animated series has been cooking in the hype oven for a very long time. Overall this time, the project has gotten a lot of attention, both positive, tied to its supposedly innovative approach to animation, and openly hateful. And so, last month, the final episode of the sequel dropped, but what is it like? Well, that's exactly what today's video is about. Today, we are going to break down how Hazbin Hotel's second season managed to repeat its old mistakes and toss a couple of new ones on top for dessert. Does this thing deserve your attention, or is it still a cringy infantile mess they're trying to pawn off on you again as adult satire? Even though this is a review specifically of the second season, we'll also touch on some key issues that carried over from season 1. Let me also say this upfront, America is a free country. Well, that's what the constitution says at least. And Vivienne has every right to write any plot lines and characters she wants in her show. That's her prerogative. But I also have the right to express my own personal opinion about this piece of work. And my opinion, as some of you might have guessed, isn't exactly sunshine and rainbows. Oh, and there will be spoilers, so you've been warned.
Racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, xenophobia, anti-Semitism.
Let's start with what you can't miss, the visual. Yeah, that same praised bright and colorful visual with a glam gothic aesthetic that became the series' original trademark. The problem is, this distinctive style is also its main flaw. From the pilot episode to the first season, and now the animators keep stepping in the same pile of crap as before. So, answer me this, how much do they have to hate their audience to draw the background in such excruciating detail? A blurred background is animation 101, in other words, the basics. In cartoons, this isn't done just for kicks, it's used to create depth, add volume to a scene, and draw attention to the main characters by hiding unimportant or distracting details. Medrano's team clearly missed that memo. This overabundance of detail is a visual assault, and combined with the fact that characters and background are often drawn in the same color palette, it makes the picture incredibly irritating to look at. I am not even joking here. While watching this series to write the script, I had to take a break by the third episode because my eyes were tired, irritated, and starting to itch. It feels like the animators were competing to see who could deliver the biggest punch to the viewer's retina. Why is my eyesight suffering instead of the sinners living in hell? Hazbin Hotel is back with a stunning animation. Dear Valerie, are we even talking about the same show? On the top of all the obvious animation problems, it's also choppy and stiff. The frame rate is choppy as hell and sometimes seems off sync, making the characters look like they're lagging. I only managed to get a smooth picture by watching it at 1.25 or 1.5 speed. The most glaring example is the scene from the second episode, where Charlie panic flies into the room where the other characters are sitting. Look at it, your eyes can't even focus and make out who's there or what they are doing. I also think it's important to note that Medrano's team is no longer a bunch of hobbies enthusiasts drawing their project using their own funds and donations. They are now like under the wing of a major player, Amazon Prime. This isn't a style anymore, comrades, it's fucking unprofessionalism. Well, I don't dwell on the red characters on a red background, because this eyesore has somehow become a feature and canon rather than proof of incompetent animators. There even joke about it in the show itself.
It's giving tacky. Shitty lighting, clashing themes, and too much red.
So, smash that like button for my suffering while making this video, and let's move on. The Cringe Fest. Oh yes, this is probably the main attraction, and it's noticeable in almost every aspect of the series. The show is positioned as a supposedly adult cartoon, but the emotions of the main characters don't match that. The fact that cartoon characters' emotions should be more frequent and pronounced than those of live-action actors is kind of given, but here the animators clearly overdid it. The characters' facial expressions and gestures are too exaggerated and grotesque. These antics would be more at home in something like Adventure Time on Cartoon Cartoon Network, not in a project trying to raise the moral and ethical question of whether outcasts and rogues deserve a second chance. Rated 18+, I remind you. What the fuck is this? And why the fuck is here? Emily is so friendly, it becomes uncomfortable even through the screen. Okay, you've convinced me. Maybe it's just the style and I'm just a pleb who doesn't get it. But the characters interacting with the world like in Dora the Explorer is also the style. Have you seen how lazily and half-assly the writers had Lucifer walk into a trap to be used as a battery for a cannon? Dude, you walk into an empty suspicious room, they start tying you up. What the hell are you staring at? Run! And the most crucial plot twists are built on moments like these, where the main character does not notice the most obvious trap or deception. Pure children's cartoon on Nickelodeon, where everything is spoon-feed, so the kid viewers don't have to strain their brains to understand the plot.
That's what the fuck I've been saying.
I'd like to say a few separate words about the musical accompaniment. Yeah, the songs are performed well by the voice actors. From a technical standpoint, you can't really fault them. The vocals are clean, solid, clear, and they do advance the plots. But in the context of what's happening, why add them, especially in such quantity? All sorts of outcasts move into the hotel who don't give a damn about the original idea and are just there to kill angels. Musical number. An angel exorcist, with the manners of a functionary from a developed fussy state, loses her mind and becomes haunted by the hallucination of her former boss? Musical number. Charlie explains how redemption works to guests who are openly mocking her, making her look like a fool all over the local internet. Musical number. The heroes and villains join forces for the common good to stop an out-of-control Wunderwaffe that's about to wreck the whole city? Guess what? That's right, a fucking musical number. This Disney Princess La 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 stuff, where all the creatures from the forest come running to dance along, just gets old. Listening to it becomes unbearable. By the 6th episode, I couldn't take it anymore. I started skipping these operatic areas. That's how out of place they feel. The problem isn't just the genre. The problem is tonal schizophrenia. The series can't decide what it is. A black comedy, a dark drama, or a Broadway show. It lurches between these states so quickly that the viewer doesn't have time to form an understanding of what they are watching, constantly yanking them out of immersion. They wanted to make an adult Sweeney Todd, but ended up with a perverted Frozen for weirdos. As for the plot itself, it has so many holes, a vacuum cleaner would envy its ability to suck up logic. The events of the second season revolve around one serious problem, the inability to prove the residents of Hell that redemption is a real thing. And as it turns out, the new character Baxter has known all along about a way how to set up a live feed between Heaven and Hell and decided to share this news only in the 7th episode. This made all the previous conflicts, which happened in an attempt to prove that Penchus really got into Heaven and the Hotel Wars, completely pointless. This isn't a writing choice, this is a plot hole the size of the Titanic. The character arcs themselves are also weak as hell. The main heroine Charlie is portrayed as a naive fool. Vox, Katie and Velvet constantly make fun of her, and she, like someone retarded, doesn't get it, letting them lead her by the nose. And her fight for a second chance for sinners feels less like man versus the system and more like a fairy tale about a naive idiot with rose-colored glasses who doesn't understand how the world works. Charlie's so oblivious to the fact that sinners have their whole fucking life to get on the right path, but they still choose to do bad things and end up in hell. The issues raised in this animated series aren't an attempt to show something relevant and painful in society through satire. No, this is the hormonal tantrum of a 13-year-old schoolgirl expressed in teenage dumbassery. I'm not like other girls, no one understands me, and that's why they bully me. First is the arrogant jerk, who also happens to be the leader of the class next door, and then it's a bunch of self-obsessed school kids from my own class. Mom's not picking up the phone, I'm lonely, the world is cruel. At the same time, despite being royalty, the population of Hell doesn't give a shit about her or her dad. According to the show's internal logic, what's even the point of their royal title? I really don't get it. Alastor. It wasn't until the second season that the writers thought to reveal his backstory. Thanks for that, I guess. But aside from that, for the entire season, he just stood or sat around somewhere in a corner, smiling mysteriously, revealing in how he's an evil genius who's 10 steps ahead of everyone, and that's it.
Uh-huh, sure, babe.
And what do you think, Alistair?
Angel Dust continues to be a cameo for the sake of a cameo. He doesn't really influence the narrative. Replace these scenes with his demonstrative attempts to reform for Heaven's Eye with some random extra, and the plot loses nothing. His entire personality begins and ends with him being gay. And that's it. This character isn't capable of anything more. Lute, who appeared back in the first season, had zero impact on the plot for her entire screen time. She just showed her radical attitude at the meeting, get mad, and set up a plotline for the third season. And these last three guys have one important unifying feature. Their motives and background seem unclear even to the creators. And we are already on the second season, for crying out loud. When do creators plan to reveal this stuff? These are, for fuck's sake, characters with a on-screen time, not extras. Did any of you understand how Alastor got out of his deal with Rosie? Because even after going to Google to figure it out, I still didn't understand what their deal even was or why the hell he latched onto working at the hotel. Angel has some important traumatic past related to domestic violence, which they subtly hinted at during the train scene. And Lute, with her SS officer wife, has some grand hidden plans that radically deviate from the Heaven's current doctrine. Chekhov's gun thesis drawn out only makes sense when you're binging all season of a show in one go, but we have to wait another year, maybe even two, for the third season. This is supposed to be a finished product, and the viewers still don't understand a damn elementary thing. And let's finish with the main thing, the positioning, although maybe I should have started with this. Hazbin Hotel is presented as an adult animated musical black comedy, so it should be judged as an adult animated musical black comedy. The series proudly wears an 18+ rating, and you know why? Not because it supposedly explores the depths of morality, violence or human nature. No, it's adult because the characters can say fuck, make jokes about blowjobs and smoke cigarettes on screen. That's it. Curse words in the lexicon, while indecent, are like salt and pepper. They make the dish better when used moderately and correctly, but use them wrong or overdo it and the food becomes disgusting. It's the same with the profanity in Hazbin. There are very few genuinely good jokes tied to major themes here. The characters' vocabulary resembles not adults, but school kids who heard some new words and are in a mad rush to show off in front of their peers about how cool and grown up they are. This isn't maturity, it's posturing. For a better understanding, let me compare it to another truly adult cartoon, South Park. Unlike Hazbin, South Park is adult not because the main characters use curse words instead of commas, but because of its concept. The storyline about the lives of four schoolboys is tightly interwoven with mocking various aspects of American culture, current world events and social taboos. And it's delivered through black humor and sharp social satire that makes you laugh and think at the same time. Only an adult can fully get jokes about such complex topics. A child won't understand them. Yeah, they might remember the character's action and the words they said, but the subtext and the real message will fly right over their heads. And here, look, a little angel says fuck. Mind blowing, what a breakthrough. Get the kids away from the screens immediately. Adult content is on. So, what's the verdict on the second season? Hazbin Hotel is still a grandiose overhyped media product that doesn't understand what it wants to be and doesn't learn from its own mistakes, even the elementary ones. It still has the same eyesore headache in dusting animation, it still has poorly developed world lore with hollow cardboard characters, a plot riddled with holes, a dead-on-arrival second chance morality lesson, an openly childish and therefore cringy presentation that makes it impossible to take the cartoon seriously, an ill-fitting song and dance numbers every 5 minutes. It masquerades as an adult animated show, but at its core it's an infantile musical with Disney aspirations, seasoned with cheap swearing and loud woke agenda that are more important than logic or character. Oh, and about those agenda. While writing the script for this video, the number of grievances grew so large that it's enough for a second video, where we'll touch not on the production process, but on LGBT propaganda, screeching feminism, and, unexpectedly, far-right tendencies. Whether to watch Hazbin or not is up to you to decide. And that's all for today. This was Cherpak at the Mig. See you soon, comrades.